Hello everyone, it's your boy Aram, and today we're talking about Helluva Boss. We're talking about the new episode, Western Energy, Season 2, Episode 4, Western Energy. Now, I really liked the last episode. I thought Episode 3 was pretty good. The action scenes, music, style, stuff like that was very good in that regard. Now, looking at Episode 4, I was very excited for this one because it had Stryker back. And Stryker's a really awesome character. He has a lot of potential to make very interesting plays, not only with his relationship with, or at least working as working for Stolas' wife in that regard. And I think that's very interesting. Not only is it very, kind of shows how really bad Stolas' relationship is, it kind of also makes a very interesting scenario, it seems like, as well. And however, I do also want to say, too, I think this episode does a lot of really good explaining, at least in regards of further world building, and also explaining the scenario, and kind of making things, kind of intensifying the situation some more. So, as we've known, last time we saw Stryker was episode 5, I think it was the Harvest Moon Festival. And basically, the last time we saw him, he basically was trying to assassinate Stolas, and he had such thing called angelical weapons. So I think that was kind of a decent way to show that, hey, there's a thing called angelical weapons. However, the viewer might have been like, hey, what are these weapons? However, I think by using them and showing it in this episode of Season 2, Episode 4, and showing them that, hey, these weapons legitimately can hurt, or not even just hurt, but kill very powerful demons like Stolas himself. And that kind of shows that, hey, that's really crazy, and that's powerful. What I also thought was very interesting with this episode was that Blitz didn't actually know that himself. It seems like he was unaware that there were such a subset of weapons that must be like, angelical or blessed, where they could actually restrain Stolas or even harm him, which I think is also another interesting interaction, which I think the show does very well. Because at first he thought, oh, it's okay, it's just Stryker. He's not going to hurt him, right? He's just, normal weapons don't hurt Stolas, right? He's a powerful demon, nothing's going to happen. That's kind of why it seems like, and I think that was a really good reaction to kind of show why Blitz wasn't too, okay, I've got to get there now. Screw your appointment, Luna. We gonna save him? And more along the lines of, I'm going to Luna's appointment, and we're gonna get that comically large needle stuck right up her ass in that regard. But I feel like it kind of helps explain a lot of kind of the things that happen that maybe other episodes might have had you questioning, or or just questions I raised up earlier in the episode. Like, you would wonder why Blitz isn't going out to save Stolas right away. In that regard, it's probably because he didn't know such angelical weapon things exist. Moxie knew, however, in that regard. Granted, I'm not sure if that was communicated between the two, so that possibly could be an issue where maybe Moxie should have let him know, because you ended up finding Stryker's angelical weapons. It could have notified Blitz of what they did, but I'm not exactly sure if the situation was... I honestly don't know why he didn't communicate or whatever. That could be a minor plot hole possibly, but I don't think that's much in the grand scheme of things. A lot's happened, and we could definitely see with the last episode, things kind of get freaking crazy, it seems like, in hell. So I honestly don't blame him for having that slip his mind. Now, however, the other thing I do want to know is, I do find very interesting is how and honestly, really the only thing I thought was very stupid of Stryker to do was allowing Stolas to call in his cell phone, or I should say a hell phone, or whatever it's called, basically to let Blitz know that, hey, I am captured by, what is that, a sexy cowboy? Yeah, one of those guys. And then Blitz is like, okay, Moxie, Millie, you go frick him up. Go. Now. Get your gun. We're fighting. And it's like, alright, nice. However, the issue with that is what I found was then, of course, Stryker Because I did actually question that when I was watching it. I was like, what? Why didn't he do that? Of course, he talks on the phone and crushes the phone. However, my reaction is if Stryker really wanted to get away with this, wouldn't he have, like, I don't know, destroyed Stolas' phone or apprehended it before Stolas called Blitz? In that regard? Like, we've seen him shut Stolas up with his tail, like, later on in the episode, which, put a clip here of it, but basically we've seen him shut him up with his tail alone. So why couldn't he do that earlier on in the episode to shut him up and go like, shh, shh, shh. Okay, no talking, destroy the phone, whatever. Now, Blitz has no idea Stolas is getting captured. He has no idea which ring he's going to be in, possibly. He has no idea who captured him in that regard. So then Stryker could have been able to get away with a lot of stuff. I do find that to be very weird and very peculiar and stuff like that. Because I feel like it would have went a lot better for Stryker if he did that as well. And you would have thought he would have been way more stealthy about it. Granted, then the whole action scene wouldn't have happened, so maybe it was probably intentional by the writers to actually find up a way for, you know, Blitz and his crew to actually figure out how Stolas was stolen, but, like, I'm just surprised that if anything, I think that was kind of my biggest issue with the episode, because if anything, how I would have done it I think another way you could have done it would be like, hey, instead of writing it like that, basically make it where he takes Stolas away. Blitz doesn't know what happens, however, you know, news goes wild, you know, he catches on the news that Stolas is missing, like, boom, powerful demon, gone, missing. Where is he at? You know what I mean? And in the meantime, Stryker's about to kill him. And I can't think of Stolas' wife's name again. But yeah, basically, when they're talking, right, you know, and Dorifus is talking about how, hey, if you kill Stolas, you don't get the will, you know, and everything goes to Octavia in that regard, keep him alive. So then when Stolas' wife calls Stryker, basically he says, hey, don't kill him. Then he doesn't kill him, basically. He just tortures him instead. Now, I think that would be a bit of a better idea, possibly, but that's only because it would make this weird... It'd make, like, I don't know, interesting way of finding it out. Granted, it's probably... My idea is probably a lot more complicated of just having him kind of shunt along the way and then having the news find out. Like, the news realizes he's gone. There's, like, I don't know, someone searching for him in that regard. It could be even Octavia brings up the whole thing and say, hey, he's gone. We don't know where he is in that regard. So then it could be, you know, people trying to look for him and try to do all that stuff. So I think that's very important. I think that's kind of how I would fix the whole situation, because if anything, the whole, I call him on the phone while I'm captured, like, if I'm tied up, like, man, dude got some gorilla freaking arms if he could be tied up and somehow, like, lift his phone up to his ear and be like, oh, yeah, Mr. Blitz with the O is silent. I need you to save me. Come on, Prince Charming. Let's go, baby. It's like, no! How? Oh my gosh, dude. It's not even like he can use magic, too. We've seen it in the episode. You just can't. The rope prevents him from using, the blessed rope prevents him from actually using magic in that regard. So it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just over-analyzing, like, the rope thing or whatever, but, like, that really kind of gets to my head. Because I'm like, how did he let him call how did he get the phone to his head? Of course, he does anyway, so let's go with it. And then Stryker's, like, somehow pissed off, and he's just... He's like, what the... What? How do you let him just go, hey, yo, save me, I'm here, and here. It's like, a kidnapper doesn't let you, like, let's say if you're to get kidnapped, right? Like, let's say, I don't know, RM's like, he's walking along on the street, you know, I'm walking along, and I'm going like, mind my own business, and some guy kidnaps me, right? And I get thrown in the back of a van, right? And now I'm in the back of a van, you know, captured, and I'm tied up. It's like, let's say somehow I managed to get my phone out, I managed to call, right? You know, dial, turn my phone on, unlock it, dial the passcode. I go like, hey, yo, oh wait, I just realized I'm single. I can't. Okay, back to the thing. So imagine if I call up, and I start the call, right? And let's say in this case, I start to call the police, and I start to let them know where I'm at. Or maybe a friend of some sort to notify the police. And this, I'm like, okay, I'm with XYZ. Let's say if someone, they actually do as well. It's like, oh, hey, my cousin Richard or something stupid. He's like, oh yeah, Uncle Richard is kidnapping me or something. Cousin Richard, something like that. Yeah, it looks like we're probably gonna go to his secret house, secret lake house somewhere. Here's the address, XYZ, and then Uncle Richard's like, oh, hey, let me just grab that phone and say, oh, yeah, don't worry, you won't get it, and then just breaks the phone, and it's like, okay, brother. Now people know where your location is, everyone knows where your lair is. It doesn't work that well. So if you were really that good of an assassin, would you really would have let him spill all the beans? Like, how arrogant is this guy? Like, oh my gosh, dude, I never knew. Well, yeah, besides that, I never knew. My biggest gripes with an episode of Helluva Boss would have to do with the fact that it's about a guy calling out, it's about a whole funny gag. And honestly, this thing is whole really funny. So, if anything, it's very funny, though. I can excuse it, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's very funny, but it kind of has this weird consequence of a weird loophole. Or, like, this weird incident of, Stryker, stop being stupid. It is possible, okay? It is possible. That's like, it's not impossible, but I just thought it'd be more realistic if Stryker just broke the phone and ran away, but oh man, dude. But besides that, dude, honestly, I love the episode. I thought it was funny, and even then, I thought that was funny as hell when Stolas was just phoning up and going, oh, hey, Blitz, save me. Let's go. It's just dumb. Oh man, dude. Frick. Really, the only other thing I could think about in the episode would have been the whole thing where Moxie and Millie go to that gas station, and like they're talking, and basically Millie goes to get directions, and Moxie gets pulled, like 4 guys pull up, and they're like, hey, yo, you got the same head as me, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. It's like, why? Is there a reason for this fight to actually pull up? Again, the spectacle was really freaking awesome, but it kind of felt a little redundant, but honestly, I can't say no to another action scene. I kind of, because of how a crap ton of bad movies are coming out, I do kind of miss a good action, packed, movie, or even a show in that regard that isn't, like, CGI, basically. It's just somewhat like a superhero going, like, super wizard behind a green screen. However, besides those issues, I got a big smile on my face, and that made my day, honestly. Might even make my week, too, because that's a fun episode. I'm probably going to watch it again. It's that fun. A lot of rewatchability, I would say, with this series. I think it's pretty good. You guys have a good day. I am going to go pass out. Like and subscribe if you're new, and if there's anything you guys want me to see, comment down below. I like talking with you people. You guys are awesome, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Bada.